What's happening? I am here with Anna Grubb from ECI. How are you, Anna? Good to see you.
I'm doing great, Andy. Thanks. How are you doing? It's good to see you too.
I am awesome. What's happening? We are doing our first interview together. I haven't done one with you yet. We did one with Larissa earlier this year. Wanted to check in. You are a new point of contact, not so new anymore, but kind of, still, I think, still getting to meet a lot of people in the North American world from ECI, the dealer channel, which is what you are running. But just, I guess, as we start, maybe just give me a little 30,000 foot view. Who's ECI, and then tell us what you do for them and maybe a little bit about your past with them.
Yeah, awesome. So I am the Global Vice President of Sales for our Field Service Division. So I'm kind of over all of the e-automate and Printanista and some of our legacy tools like FM Audit, Print Audit, and I actually came from Print Fleet. So I was part of an acquisition almost 7 years ago now. So I've been with ECI for quite some time now already. Yeah.
Well, I think everybody seems just about at ECI to have been there from an acquisition because you're a company of companies. You're made up of just multiple uh, organizations that have just been swallowed up by this massive, I guess, software company, right? I mean, you guys are one of the most ubiquitous names in the industry. I think every dealer, or just about every dealer, office equipment reseller probably uses you for one respect or another. You mentioned e-automate, that's the biggie, right? So give us a little bit,
Definitely.
tell us what's e-automate for maybe a couple people don't know. And then Printanista is the real interesting one. Since you and I have started working together, since you started sponsoring us, I've learned quite a bit about Printanista and your efforts to, print management. And just why don't you fill us in a little bit on those things?
Sure, yeah. So eAutomate is our flagship ERP, specifically designed for the office technology industry. So we're pretty well known throughout North America, and the one thing that I've been working really hard on over the last few years is actually taking eAutomate international, just kind of moving into some new markets and just showcasing like we can go into like the UK, and most recently Australia and New Zealand. So we can talk about that in a little
Yeah.
bit, but that's eAutomate. On the Printanista side, that is taking our legacy solutions of Print Fleet, FM Audit, and Print Audit, and we've combined all of kind of the best of class from those three solutions, and then added more features and functionality to those to kind of come up with Printanista. I did not name Printanista. It is just one of those ones that it kind of rolls off your tongue a little bit, or maybe you get your tongue tied. I'm not sure which.
I
So
like it. It's a good brand. It's print related, first of all, so it
yeah,
helps me remember it.
yeah.
But it's a sticky name, and so I didn't realize all three of those parts were all integrated into that. So I can remember over the years most of those being bought at one point or another. And John Hewitt, I think, was part of one of those. He's with you, or I think was with you for years. I think he's still with you guys in some capacity or another. Um,
Not
yeah.
no, no, not Noel. So
No,
yeah,
all right, retired, moved on.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
and so you're doing North America now, but this is a global company, right? And you guys are all over the
Mhm.
place. And you had a show. You just had your first big, I guess, kickoff. It wasn't here. You're doing one later this year. We'll talk about that in a minute. But let's talk about. And you went to this, right? So you went.
I
Where
did.
was this? What was it about? And
Yeah,
tell me about
so
the
just a
show.
few weeks back, I went into Sydney, Australia. So it was
Oh,
my
hey,
first
hold,
time
hold on,
going.
hold on, hold on. I'm sorry. All right, here we go. All right, so tell me about Australia, mate.
Yes, and I feel like I've been there now, and then I'm there again. It was wonderful. So I flew in to do our official launch of Yaautomate. We have been in Australia for a few years now. We've got a few legacy customers there, and we just signed a few recently in the last year or so. And what we wanted to do was go in, showcase what we had done. And actually, we did a voice of a customer. We actually had a one of our newer customers that just recently went live sit at the front of the room and just tell the realities about what was it like. I mean, obviously we're a North American company. We're coming into Australia and New Zealand. What does it look like in terms of support, implementation? What do you need to know before you sign up with eAutomate? And it went so well that we've already had 3 new dealers signed based on that one event alone, which may not sound like a lot, but when you're trying to move into a new market, we're really proud of that. And we've got a few more that are still in the works.
Well, so it's interesting, right? I did some speaking over there in the past. I did a sharp dealer meeting, so some shout outs, Bob, Tony, George, who's got a little Greek in him. Maybe these guys were even at your conference. But what struck me was they're just like our dealers. I mean, in so many ways, their operations are very similar. Same issues, same problems, same vendors in many cases. I'm sure the integrations are very easy for you to do for an Aussie dealer compared to US or Canadian dealers. So, and what was that, a 2 day show you said?
So we did our own 1 day show, and we
One day.
actually connected it into a 2 day Fuji event. So we
Oh,
actually were able
exciting.
to go to that as well. So it was really
And you
good.
signed
Yeah.
up three new ones right off the bat like that.
Right off the bat, we had already been talking to them. I will give a shout out to Josh, who's on my team. He has done a great job in that market. He came from the industry and he just hit the ground running. And he's only been with us for a little under 2 years, and he's just done a really good job of making sure that he gets us out there and got our name out
You are
there.
busy, going all the way out there. That's a long haul. I know that. And then so you're probably using some of what you learned on that for to put together the show for it's November, right? You guys are doing a big show in November here
Yeah. So
here in the
this
US.
Yeah, so this November the 11th to the 13th is our our ECI Connect conference. So this is done every other year. So for any of our eAutomate customers that might be going into the eAutomate user group, that is the opposite year as our ECI Connect conference. So Connect is a conference that is truly for all of our different divisions. So it's not just field service that goes in, our distribution, manufacturing, LBMH, and every single division goes in, and we come together to create this big event for all of our customers. We do a lot of training. We do a lot of what's happening, where are we going, what's going on, and like getting people behind the curtain. So we've got some vendors will be there. We'll have like a little expo floor as well as lots of training and kind of learning from each other too, right?
So that's very cool. I didn't realize that was the big global event. And so when you do something like that, first of all, maybe what are some of the other areas you were in? Because we all look at you as, this massive company in our world, but you're big outside this world too. Same types of technology, right? Because the
Yeah.
needs that our resellers have are common to other industries. What other industries are you guys in?
So we have four other divisions. So we've got like there's a LBMH, which is our lumber and hardware division. We have manufacturing, which is basically all things manufacturing. And then we have distribution. So any of our distribution partners out there might be using our distribution solutions. And then we also have the RHC, so residential home construction. So, and then we recently acquired a e-commerce site called EvoX, which we're talking about quite a bit, and we're actually doing integration with EvoX into eAutomate, which we're just starting to talk about. So you're going to get a little sneak peek of that on this call.
Well, that would be very cool. E-commerce obviously one of the big trends in our industry. So, the closer you get to helping dealers in our world with that type of approach, I think they can all use a little bit of help, and whether it's building it or just some thought process and where do we go and how do we get involved with it. So this is a big show. This isn't just our world. How many, any ballpark on just how big a show, how many people tend to come to this thing?
Oh my goodness. We just opened registration, so I've been watching it closely. So we already have about 100 people registered, and it just opened like last week.
Yeah.
So that is minimum, and it'll be like obviously well more than that. So I'm trying to remember the
Is it
last
is
one
it
we did.
at your
Sorry.
headquarters? I forget where you said it was.
Oh, I don't think I did say. I think I just said Texas and left it at that. It's at the Gaylord Texan
Oh,
in
yes.
Grapevine.
The new one.
Yeah,
I think it's a
yeah.
new one.
I don't know how.
Is that the new one? There's a new one that someone was just telling me they were at. Maybe it's not the Texas Gaylord is not new. I've been to that one.
Yeah,
Um,
I've been to it as well. So I don't think it's that
yeah,
new. Yeah,
yeah, but that's a great spot for it. It's
it
big,
sure is.
big enough.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It
so
is
that's
right down the road,
November.
really.
And so what do you do? You break out, you have probably a general session with everything, just sort of flex who we are, and then everyone kind of goes off in their own sections. And so you get a lot of dealers coming to this event.
We get a lot of dealers coming to this event for sure. There's some things that when you think about it, the cloud is the cloud, right? So we can talk about the cloud and it kind of resonates across all divisions. It doesn't necessarily have to be really field service or eAutomate specific.
Hmm.
So we do some of those shared sessions and security and data and all that. And then we have very specific eAutomate, Printanista, and even our add-ons, like obviously we've got a bunch of add-ons that kind of go around the ecosystem of eAutomate. So we will do in-depth training and just talk to our dealers and make sure it's pertinent. So we've got a whole agenda that's already out there published that people can go look. If I can send you over the link so you can see when you register what you're in for, and you can select the sessions that you're interested in joining, and then we just kind of go from there.
Well, that sounds like a fun conference. We will definitely be there. Me or Jake will be there. We'll talk about that later. But then, uh, so what else do you guys have coming on? I know you're typically at a lot of BTAs. You do some of the peer groups. Are there other shows we're going to see you guys at this summer? Where's ECI going to be this year, for the rest of the year?
Well, we're definitely going to be at BTA, which is there's one coming up, I guess, next
Yes,
week,
I will
depending
be
on
there.
when.
I will be
Yeah.
looking for your team.
Yeah, so there's that one coming up. So basically, all the BTAs will be at those. There's not a lot of OEM shows this year. I know you and I talked about that recently. It's been a little bit quiet in 2024 for OEM shows.
Very,
So
very.
yeah. So and then of course our own show, and then also the IT Nation. We're looking to go back into IT Nation, which is new for us as of last year. We had never been before, and we're just trying to embrace, the change that the managed print space has had by going into the managed IT space. So we did that last November, and for those of you who attended, we actually did a kind of a co-branded booth with CEO Juice. So
Yep,
we're looking
Gary
to do
was
that again
there.
this year. Gary was
Yep.
there, and Mike. Yeah, it's good.
So that was awesome. That was IT Nation Connect, I think was the IT Nation that we went to and saw you at. We were doing that co-booth with Gary, and
Yeah.
what an event that was, right? I mean, talk about drinking from a fire hose. It's just there was so much there, and you guys
Yeah.
must have been blown away because in our world, there's we kind of know who most of the dealers are. There's 1,000, 1,200 maybe, give or take, right? I mean, we can argue about it, but you go to that show and it's thousands and thousands of people from all big companies and
Yeah.
little companies and medium-sized companies, and just it's a big show. For me, I thought it was really impressive. I mean, it's just there's just so much traffic there, and then you're starting to see companies from our world creep into that world, right? So you guys had
Yeah.
a booth. Great America had a booth. That's another one that was over there. I think you guys integrate with
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
So you're starting to see, our world kind of take that side eye view and look at that as just such a huge opportunity. And there were dealers there too, by the way. I don't know if you saw them. Did you see a bunch of dealers there?
I did. I definitely did, and
I saw
it was
Dex, I
nice to
saw
see.
Novatech, I saw some biggies there. I think
Yeah.
Flex was there. I can't remember. It was a year ago. I can barely remember what I did yesterday, but there were a lot of really big dealers. Jenna Stramalia was running some breakout sessions with Schweitzer. John Schweitzer was there at the time, and
Yeah.
just running some dealers. I will call them dealer centric kind of breakouts. And I was surprised that some of the dealers that were in that room, they were big ones. So that's a show like yours, right? The big shows we need to go to. And I think you kind of mentioned it before, but there's not a lot of vendor shows this year. So, if you're watching this, maybe your calendar's a little more open. You can go to you can go to an ECI show. Maybe you go to some of these the ConnectWise shows that you've been putting off. So it's a good opportunity to go to some of these other events, I think.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I find that the more you get out there, I think the fun fact, as you've recently learned, is I've been in the industry for like half my life, and I just started going to the shows in the last couple of years when I moved into this role about 2.5 years ago. So you learn so much from them. You get to see people, you get to actually interact and see like where the industry is going, look for ways that we can improve and work together. So the collaboration has just been fantastic.
Well, you kind of building on what in a little bit on what you said. You just mentioned, trying to build your brand, right? And that you've been
Yeah.
in this business for a long time, but people in our world, you haven't been in the front of them. So a lot of people haven't met you. That's one of the reasons we're doing this interview, trying to build some familiarity. But you are popping up in the right places. I saw ENX has you as a difference maker, right? Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
You haven't won that before, I don't think, have you?
No, as I said, I always stay like to be behind the curtain, like the Great Wizard of Oz. And this is the last year and a half to 2 years I've been stepping out a little bit more in front
You've
of the
been at the
curtain.
booths, you've been out there talking.
Yeah.
A lot of pictures of you talking to dealers and videos where you're out there, doing your thing and shaking hands and everything and meeting everybody, right? It's a different world. It's fun. It's social. I'm glad to see you guys have mixed things up. You've had a good team for over the years, but it's always good to have move some people around and get some new experiences and use some of the experiences you have from your other groups. What do we have coming from you guys over the next 6 to 12 months, technology wise? What are we seeing? Any big news that you can share with us? Any technology updates or launches you might want to tease us with?
I think the biggest thing to be aware of is what we're doing between Printanista and eAutomate, and to try and make it so the integration between the two is just stronger. So you can kind of live and breathe and eAutomate and be less reliant on having to go into the user interface of Printanista. So you're not going in and out. So we're just trying to make things easier, give the visibility that you need right in eAutomate. So then that way you can make better, quicker business decisions and then just move forward. So we've already added and released some of those features, and there are more coming. So I'm just going to leave it at that and just kind of like tease you to say that there's more coming, and we're really excited. We did a webinar today, actually. I'm not sure if you saw that or if you were on that or not, but
I
that
wasn't
was
on it, but I
earlier
saw you
today.
had it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, we're just starting to showcase a little bit more about what that integration is, and really truly trying to make sure that we encourage people to get off our legacy solutions and onto our go forward solution, because that really it is where it's at, right? Because we want to make sure that everything that we're putting into our development right now is putting it into Printanista. Like we spent a lot of years behind the curtain, like no pun intended on my behind the curtain, trying to make sure we got all of our migration tools created, right? Like we didn't want to leave any of our customers behind, and I think that is probably what is not as transparent, and the reason why I'm trying to get in front of the curtain and tell customers, like, you're wondering what we're doing, but meanwhile we're trying to create migration tools to get you guys off of our legacy solutions, get you over to our new solution, so then that way you can move forward with us. So now that they're all created, it's giving us a chance to kind of be, go back to the fun stuff, right? Like add fun features and what do you need to run your business. And so that's where it's game changing. I think over the last few years, people are like, well, you didn't really launch anything. You launched Printanista, then what'd you do? Well, then we had to make sure you guys could all get to Printanista. So now that we've done that, we're having fun.
So building these integrations, let's talk about that for a bit, because that's one of the things I don't think you guys get really any credit for. Um, people have busted on you over the years a little bit for buying a lot of these companies and then not reinvesting and just letting the companies do their thing and work as well as they have. But it sounds like you are updating, you are continually building, and let's talk about that. The effort, the amount of people you have on this, and number of updates maybe you guys do in a year, and where you're taking this. You're obviously, from conversations you and I have had, you're not just sitting on this technology, you're trying to take it to new places. So fill me in.
Yeah, we absolutely are. I think that is one of the biggest misconceptions out there, is that we're just kind of sitting back and expecting that people will just want to go to our go forward solution. So we do regular releases. Now it's a little bit hard to tell you how many releases because our DCA is pretty agile
But
because
there's a
it doesn't.
lot.
Oh yeah, I'd say at least one a month for our Printanista, as well as our eAutomate kind of comes out for cloud, to make sure that we get people moving forward. So yeah, there's a lot of new things, and if you're not on our list, I think the one shout out I would say is if you're not receiving our release notes or what's going on, make sure you send me an email, get it to your account manager, and say, okay, hey, I didn't know all this stuff was going on. So like that's the other thing I'm trying to change, is we're trying to really move like my team into a true account management, like consultative. Like we want to make sure that we're talking to you and showing you what we got and why we're doing things the way we're doing things. And that's a big difference. I think that any of the dealers in the industry should be seeing. And I know every time I talk to somebody, I try to make sure that they know that we're innovative. We're trying to make sure we're moving forward. So
Well, you're clearly making an effort, in the forward-facing world that you hadn't, and since I've known you guys. I mean, obviously working with me, but you're working with other companies out there now, and you're telling your story, Matt, a lot more now. And you never, I just don't really feel like you did. I mean, people, take a step back and we forget this new Printanista isn't real, program. The program is new, but it's not, because it's three plus other companies that you have bought over the years, acquired, and you had to integrate them into one cohesive package, right? And there's several different components about that. There's three different, completely different technologies, three platforms. So it's a lot of work. I get it, right? It takes time. And maybe you guys, in the past didn't do yourselves any justice by being quiet about it. But these releases, feel free to send me those, by the way. I would publish them, just to let people know when you do an update, just to, make sure they go back and look and make sure that they know about it. But the software wouldn't be here today. It wouldn't be working. It wouldn't get anything done if it hadn't been updated over the years, because you still have to integrate into all these new companies that come in, and
yeah.
um, you know, you partner with everybody. Tell us about the integrations, because that's a big important part, and maybe some of the partnerships that you have, because I think that's one of the things that adds a lot of credibility to you is you're literally partnered with every company that matters in this industry, just about, at least from a vendor manufacturer
Yeah.
standpoint. I mean, let's talk about that for a second, and just some of the things you guys bring to the table people don't maybe not realize.
Yeah, and I guess it's funny. I would start trying to name off who we partner with, but then I'd be afraid of offending somebody that I didn't name off
Yeah,
because I
maybe you
think it
should
would
just name the
be.
ones you don't.
Yeah, I think that is part of the problem because, but yeah, we do have like our vendor connections into all of the mainline, players in the industry in North America specifically. Where we are working on what we need for our global expansion into the UK. We've added, I think, 6 or 7 in the UK recently as well. And we're working on some in Australia. But in North America specifically, which is I know where a lot of our audience is today, yeah, if you can think of a player out there, we have an integration that we can send, orders automatically to. You can, on some of them, not all of them, but on some of them, you can check your current price. You can check whether you've got stock, what's going on with where's your order. So it just, the level of integration we have does vary from one vendor to another. So just, reach out, ask your account manager to see like, well, how tightly integrated are you with this one you're specifically looking for?
Now, your reach and your coverage, right? You've got, how does this work? You've got, uh, what do you call your dealer reps that meet with them? Are they DSMs? Are they channel
I call
managers,
them account managers,
account
is what I
managers?
call them.
So
Yeah.
you've got a lot of, how many account managers do you guys have out there?
So, well, I don't know if you'd say a lot. We've got 5 account managers in the
Okay.
U.S. Okay, so
Just in
we
the
do have
US
that
though.
just in the U.S. Yeah. So, and that doesn't include any of our new systems reps or our sales engineers. So,
And that's
just
just for
managing the account.
our little channel. We're talking office
Yeah,
equipment resellers.
yeah, yeah. And then we have, already mentioned our rep in Australia, and then we've got 2 people in the UK currently. So,
Busy,
yeah,
busy. So global company, it's a common offering. Like we said, that that a dealer in Australia, a dealer in the UK, a dealer in, Germany, reseller, let's call them. They have very similar issues. It's, the languages are different, but the partners are the same. The problems are often the same or very similar. So it's just it's a natural move for you guys, I think, to move into some of these other markets. They're just sort of sitting there. But let's be clear that your biggest market is which?
oh, the US. It's and the fun fact, I don't know if I mentioned this, is when I first started working with eAutomate, I would hear because we have a lot of the elite dealers throughout the US, and I would hear we have the elite dealers domestically. I'm Canadian, so I would hear that, and then the fun fact is that we do have quite a few, like several hundred dealers in Canada as well. But then I realized that when they were saying that we have like a certain percentage of the dealers domestically, they weren't counting Canada. So we did also spend quite a bit of time in the last 6 to 8 months when I randomly did the whole like scratchy head. Oh, you don't know where Toronto is? Well, there's a lot of dealers there that could still use eAutomate because
Of
another myth
course.
that I'm trying to. I'm a myth buster. It's my goal.
Well,
I'm
it's
gonna
not
keep
just
going with.
Toronto, right? I mean, you think about it, London, and I just name any big city and how many resellers, and I mean, print is everywhere, and it's not
Everywhere.
going away anytime soon. And somebody's supporting all those printers and selling them all. They're not all coming off Amazon, not by a long shot. So, but you guys are a legendary company in this industry. It's been great, kind of catching up with you and learning a little bit more about what you do. So we will not be seeing you personally at the BTA event. You're gonna have a team there. Maybe we'll see you at one of the 2 other ones later in the year.
Yeah.
There's one, and I want to say one is in August and one is September. No, wait, one's September, one's October.
September and October. There's one in San Antonio in September, I
Yes, I'm
think, and
speaking
then
at that one. I think I'm speaking at that one,
okay.
so I will definitely be there. And then there's one up a little closer in Boston. Nice to
Asheville.
shoot up the coast and out to the coast and get myself a lobster roll.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. When you go to that one, I gotta go.
Yeah, that'll be a good one. Boston's a fun
Yeah.
one. I like when they bounce back and forth between Boston and New York, and they're both just really fun locations. Boston seems a little easier to drive into. I like driving. It's about 5 hours for me, which is just I don't know, it's just nice not to have to go to an airport sometimes. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know what you're talking about. You don't have to go through Toronto, which is anybody's traveled through Toronto airport, they understand. I think we've got the worst reputation.
You've got some baggage issues. I actually do fly out of there a little bit in and out for international because it's a 3 hour drive for me. So it's sometimes it saves me a flight. It's worth it. I don't mind it. I've been to worse. Pearson, was it Toronto Pearson Airport or something?
Yeah.
Pearson, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's good. It all stinks. There's no way of winning. But this has been a pleasure. I'm great. I'm glad we finally got you on here. We've been talking about this for a little while, and we finally got our ducks in a row. And I actually remember to get you the links, and we all showed up. So Gold star for
Okay.
Andy today. And this was great. I appreciate you coming on. And any last shout outs, anything you want to leave us with?
No, I think just thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. And if anybody out there has any questions about what we're doing, just give us a call, and that way I can try and help out.
I'm gonna put a link in below here, so people watching this, if you want to get information on signing up for that event out in at the Gaylord in Texas in November. That's gonna be a biggie. It's just what you work with these guys. You've been spending money with them for years. Go to the show. Go see what else they do. I mean, not that you're gonna use them for other things, but just see who you're doing business with and get a sense for maybe some of the things that are coming. I can't wait to go to that show. I've never been to one. I've heard great things about it. So, I appreciate the invite and we're excited to go cover it for you guys. So thanks so much, Anna. This has been great. We'll talk soon.
Awesome. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
You too.